A statement from the Police Services Board in response to the latest investigation into the Thunder Bay Police. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay Police Services Board Chair Karen Machado is vowing transparency and collaboration with the Inspectorate of Policing during its investigation.
The probe was announced yesterday and focuses on several unresolved death investigations by city police. Vasilios Bellos is following this story. Vasilios, what else is Machado saying?
Ryan, Chair Machado wasn't available for an on-camera interview, but she released a statement saying it's critical for Indigenous communities to have confidence in law enforcement. As for Police Chief Darcy Fleury, he's decided not to speak to media at this time regarding the outside probe of the force. It's another probe into the Thunder Bay Police Service. On Thursday, it was announced that the Inspectorate of Policing would be investigating the service, the first to be carried out by Inspector General of Policing Ryan Teschner. It comes after complaints from Anishinaabe Nation on behalf of the loved ones of Jenna Ostberg, Corey Boleski, and Mackenzie Muniez, whose deaths were investigated by the Thunder Bay Police Service, with few answers provided to the families. In April, they took part in a news conference in Toronto, calling for the disbandment of the service and for the Inspectorate of Policing to look into those deaths. Police Service Board Chair Karen Machado was not available for a TV interview, but she released a statement saying the board understands it's critical for Indigenous communities and all the diverse communities of Thunder Bay to have confidence in the system that provides oversight of the TBPS, and that the board is fully committed to working collaboratively and transparently with the Inspectorate of Policing during the investigation, and welcomes any further advice that will strengthen the police oversight system. Police Chief Darcy Fleury has decided not to currently speak to the media regarding the Inspector General's probe. The chief did vow in April after a police board meeting to ensure the families of the deceased would be updated during the death investigations.
We continue to share their pain and suffering and understand that this is very difficult times. They want conclusion, they want answers, and at the appropriate time again, when it's good for us to be able to say that, I will meet with them again and we'll have those conversations.
Inspector General Ryan Teschner has a number of powers that he could use after the investigation, including removing the chief, members of the board, or in extreme cases, disbanding the service. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay Police Service has charged one of its own officers with theft under $5,000 and breach of trust. The force hasn't named the officer at this time, but says the internal investigation was launched following a complaint. The accused has been suspended with pay in accordance with provincial legislation. Chief Darcy Fleury says public confidence is top priority for the service.
3 men from southern Ontario have been arrested by Thunder Bay Police on drugs and weapons charges. Officers executed a pair of search warrants on Thursday afternoon on Court Street South and Sills Street. Police found a large quantity of crack cocaine and fentanyl, along with more than $53,000 in cash and 2 sawed-off shotguns. The suspects, aged 24, 25, and 28, are all from Toronto. One of them has conditions not to be in Thunder Bay. The 3 accused remain in custody, facing charges of drug trafficking, possession of a prohibited firearm, and possession of property obtained by crime.
A Southside Chinese restaurant was hit with a second act of vandalism in just over a month. One of the lion statues outside Chinese Express had its face broken off after somebody knocked them over on Wednesday afternoon. Security footage from the incident shows a woman walk over to the restaurant from Montdale Avenue and knock over 3 lion statues, breaking one of them. The restaurant was also vandalized about a month ago when someone spray painted the windows as well as the lions. The statues are meant to represent good fortune and protection and were made by a family friend years ago. Owner Kim Lai notes they've received an outpouring of support after posting on Facebook, and says they're grateful for the community for that.
People here, my customer, everyone phone in and ask anything they can do help. But I'm really happy that make me feel better.
Even though there's some bad eggs that come and they do some damage to property like that, it really showed how close-knit everyone is in Thunder Bay and how they're really willing to help each other.
Thunder Bay Police are investigating the incident.
An announcement from the federal government today will see the extension of Matawa Tribal Council's Animal Pilot Project.
It helps connect Matawa's community with animal welfare services and resources. Justin Hardy has the story.
I cannot believe that we have to continually be reminded that First Nations people are humans and they have connections with animals and they care about their children and they care about the land and they care about their communities. We have to do better as a country.
An emotionally charged speech by Canada's Minister of Indigenous Services at an announcement of additional funding for Matawa's Animal Pilot Project. Patty Haidu joined Matawa leadership to announce $1.5 million in funding to extend the pilot project by another 2 years. The project aims to improve animal wellness, provide education, and control animal populations to create healthier, safer communities for both people and animals. Animal welfare is something that is often overlooked as a service that should be available for remote communities, according to Haidu.
There are some very distinct funding portfolios that communities receive for community life, things like infrastructure, for example, or water provision, healthcare, education, but there are really significant gaps and things that many of us take for granted don't exist or aren't funded properly in communities, things like the ability to care for stray animals or the ability, and you heard the lack of access to health care for all kinds of creatures.
The pilot project was launched this February. So far, it's played a significant role in offering spay-neuter animal wellness clinics to Matawa communities who have not seen them on average for 8 to 10 years. It also worked with the First Nations on animal population surveys and general education and awareness of animal population management. It's also been able to build strong partnerships with the Matawa member First Nations and other animal-related organizations, charities, and groups. Matawa CEO David Paul Achnipiniskum says the support from the federal government is great to see.
And I hope that other First Nation communities across Canada will fight for their, I call it a right. It's a right as communities to get veterinarian services for their pets in our communities. It's needed.
The Matawa Chiefs Council is also developing a business plan to potentially continue and expand the project to serve other First Nations in Northern Ontario who lack access to veterinary services, animal supplies, and resources. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
With the respiratory virus season upon us, the Thunder Bay and District Health Unit is urging residents to get vaccinated.
COVID-19 and flu shots are now available for those with a higher risk of severe illness, and the general public will be able to get their shots later this month. Jessica Clement reports.
Those most at risk for getting influenza or COVID-19, including children under 5, seniors, and people with underlying medical conditions, are now able to get their vaccinations provided by the District Health Unit.
We start our planning very far in advance at the health unit and making sure that all of our community members in Thunder Bay, surrounding areas, and district communities have access to protection from vaccines. So access to those vaccines is very important for us.
Vaccine Preventable Diseases Manager Laura Dennis notes the COVID and flu vaccines can be obtained at the same time. Those who work in settings caring for higher risk individuals, first responders, and those from Indigenous communities are also a priority right now. The general public will be able to get their shots starting October 28th through pharmacies and healthcare providers.
Very exciting this year. Our pharmacies have expanded, and all of our pharmacies in Thunder Bay are offering COVID-19 and flu vaccines this year. Also, many pharmacies in our surrounding district communities are offering COVID and flu vaccines this year.
Dennis says residents are also able to get their vaccines at a once-a-week pop-up clinic at the CLE Coliseum, but they must make an appointment before going, as the clinic won't accept walk-ins. Lenore Buzzy was at Friday's at-risk walk-in and explains why she wanted to get the jab.
This is my 8th shot, so I want to carry on. I don't want to get sick. I'm immune compromised, so I need it. And COVID's out there. You can't deny it, so why not prevent it?
Members of the public can check for clinic dates and book appointments on the District Health Unit's website. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The Regional Food Bank hopes to collect a big haul of food this weekend. The RFDA's annual Harvest for Hunger food drive is being held at grocery stores around the city. Executive Director Volker Krom says it's simple to donate.
And this is I've been doing this for 15 years, so I will like to say this is the 15th Harvest for Hunger. And they will be asking the shoppers here to donate either non-perishable foods or a monetary donation to help us with our food drive. And this is the only one that the RFDA generally does on its own, but with the help of volunteers and other agencies.
Collection areas will be set up at 14 local grocery stores on Saturday and Sunday. Crom notes they hope to bring in 10 to 12 tons of food as well as cash donations. Well, the RFDA just wrapped up its first ever meal ticket lottery with the winning tickets drawn this morning. Melanie Coffey won a Nissan Frontier pickup truck, while George Gallinger took home a Kia Niro electric SUV. Crom notes while the lottery didn't sell out, it was still a successful fundraiser for the RFDA and its planned expansion project.
And that was pretty exciting. It was our very first one. You know, we can't compete with the hospital 50-50, but we did our best, and we tried everything, and it was exciting. It was this morning when we were on the radio, we announced the winners, and then a couple of hours later, we have these excited winners saying, "Oh, I got a truck!" You know, that makes everybody feel good.
Thanksgiving is coming up this weekend, and for the 27th year, the Thunder Bay professional firefighters are helping the Salvation Army prepare and serve hundreds of meals for those in need. They usually respond to emergency calls around the city, but today they found another way to give back to the community. The city firefighters, along with some family and friends, were busy this morning preparing for Sunday's big dinner at the Salvation Army Journey for Life Center. Turkeys are being pre-roasted and potatoes peeled and sliced. Organizers expect up to 300 people to come for Thanksgiving dinner, so they need a lot of food.
Probably about 275 servings to 300 servings. We're talking 22 turkeys, pounds and pounds of potatoes, pounds of stuffing as well. I know that we have about 50 pies that we have to make, so we've got quite a bit going on here.
We see the need, we see the homelessness, and this is a place where they can come and get a meal because they probably wouldn't have another option of getting a good Thanksgiving meal. And also people are lonely at this time of year. It's sometimes not a happy time, but a sad time, so people can come and have some friendship and a warm meal in their belly and just send them on their way a little happier.
As mentioned, the dinner is set to go this Sunday. The turkey and all the good stuff that comes with it, like potatoes, stuffing, and pie, will be served between noon and 2 p.m. Buses will run to the Journey to Life Center from City Hall and the Water Street Terminal that day.